Hey everybody, this is Bill. Welcome to the channel. Today we're talking college football. We're going to take a look at our top 25 for week 10. We're going to look at the teams that fell out of last week's top 25, and we're also going to have a look at some of the teams that are looking to either get in for the first time or get back in next week's top 25. But man, we had a big shakeup, and particularly down at the bottom of the poll, big shakeup down there. Let's get into it. This week's top 25. Okay, so we only had two teams fall out of last week's top 25. They're not in there this week. Number 18, UCLA. They got clobbered at Arizona. Now, folks, Arizona has been on a rip. They are playing some fantastic football. In fact, they've entered our top 25. We'll talk about them later. But we think UCLA is pretty good. But man, they ran into a buzzsaw. They got bared down on by the Arizona Wildcats. And then Air Force. They were handled really easily by the Army Academy. The Black Knights, yeah, they took Air Force down 23-3. That was kind of surprising. We didn't think Air Force was all that great, but they were 8-0, and they had entered into the AP Top 25. We gave them a nudge in there at 25th, but right out of there they go after losing to the Cadets. So those are the two teams that are out, UCLA and Air Force. Now we got some teams that are going to be looking to get back in. UCLA 6-3. We just talked about them. They're a good football team. Clemson won at home handily against Notre Dame. Had them the whole way. Clemson played a good football game. They're a good football team. Watch out for them. As is Duke in the ACC. Now Duke's quarterback is out. That's presenting some problems for them. But they are good on the line of scrimmage. They play sound defense, and they're well coached. Keep your eye on Duke. And Kentucky's a good football team. I mean, Georgia clobbered them the other weekend, but they're very good. Tennessee beat them as well, but they're in the SEC, and they're a good football team. North Carolina, with their great start, has fizzled here of late, but expect them to come back in and get in the thick of the ACC race in an effort there to be the team that plays Florida State. Speaking of playing Florida State, the Miami Hurricanes are in Tallahassee this weekend. Miami's been on the edge. They're not quite playing well enough. They were defeated at NC State. Don't know how they're going to win in Tallahassee, but it is a rivalry game. So we'll see the Hurricanes up there against the Seminoles. That's Saturday afternoon at 3:30 from Doak Campbell. Wyoming's in. And Rutgers is in, of course. They're playing very good football at 6-3. James Madison, they're undefeated. They can't go to a bowl game because they moved up in class, but they're trying to figure out a way to amend that somehow. Fresno State, SMU, they're good football teams. Texas A&M, not a bad team, but just rugged country there in the SEC. Iowa, now they're the class, it appears, of the Big Ten West, which is a horrific division. We don't think Iowa's very good. Defensively, they're good. Offensively, they are just absolutely horrendous. But they are 7-2, and they kind of keep winning. So we got to give them some cred. So here's Iowa. None of the other Big Ten West teams do we have in this category. Now we've also got Boston College. Can you imagine? We thought Boston College was dead. They're 6-3, and their losses are to good teams. West Virginia, they are really looking good. Neil Brown's job appears to perhaps be saved. Only thing I could think could wreck that is if Jimbo Fisher, a favorite son there in Mountaineer Country, becomes available. They may want to make that move. But Neil Brown's got West Virginia 6-3, and we've got the Air Force who fell to Army, as we mentioned, and then we've got Liberty. They're undefeated. They're going through their schedule. I don't think they could hang with anybody like Tennessee or anything like that, but they're not a bad team, and we've got them down here in this category. So those are the teams that are looking to try to get in to the top 25 next week. In order for them to do that, somebody probably going to have to fall out. All right, folks, now before we move over to our top 25 for this week, we want to invite you to take a look at us over on the Color and Pageantry on Facebook. We're not a great site. We don't have 100,000 people that follow us, but we do post college football material on there, and if you're interested in college football, you probably will like it. So get on over there and say hi to us over at the Color and Pageantry on Facebook. All right, now let's roll over and get to our top 25 for this week. Okay, folks, Kansas State comes in at 25th. They're 6-3, a hard-fought loss. They came back at Texas, tied the ball game up, but they lost it there at the end, 33-30. K-State's a good football team, there's no question. North Carolina State is now in the top 25. They've got 3 losses, but none of those losses are to bad teams. and they're 6-3, and they really dominated Miami there in Raleigh last weekend. So NC State coming in there. We talked about Arizona dumping UCLA. They started out slow, but they are absolutely on fire, and that's an ascending situation there in Arizona, in Tucson. Southern Cal falls to 22nd. A close game. They were hanging in there with Washington offensively, could not stop the Huskies defensively, and their defensive coordinator, Alex Grinch, has been let go. Notre Dame is 21st. Lost at Clemson. Now, folks, Clemson is a very tough place to play. They might be down a little bit, but you just don't roll up into Clemson and be knocking them out all over the place. So they handed it to Notre Dame. They needed the victory. They got it. And Tulane behind quarterback Michael Pratt. They're ranked 20th. They're 8-1. They're a decent football team. We know what they can do. Ask the Goodyear Cotton Bowl folks where they beat USC last year. Tulane probably going to be the team to get into the New Year's Six again this year. The Green Wave, 20th. 19th is Oklahoma. They lost a hard battle out there with Oklahoma State in the last edition of Bedlam in Stillwater. Oklahoma State, the victor there. Kansas from the Big 12 is in at 18th, having a wonderful year. We'll see how far they can take it with Lance Leipold and running back Devin Neal. Oklahoma State is 17th, rebounded from an awful start, which had them clocked by South Alabama at home. They've been on a roll, playing very good. They're utilizing that running back, Ali. That guy's fantastic. And Utah's in at 16th, 7-2. They're another good football team. They don't have their great quarterback, Cam Rising, but they're a tough football team, lines of scrimmage and defense. They're in there at 16th. LSU is 15th, 6-3. They lost at Alabama. So the Tigers coming in at 15. We have Tennessee coming in at 14th. They're 7-2. They've got a big football game at Missouri Saturday. Going to be a good one. CBS 3:30. Oregon State is in there 7-2 at 13th. They haven't performed quite as well as we thought, but they're still a good football team, 7-2. Missouri is 12th, as we mentioned, hosting Tennessee this weekend in Columbia. That's going to be a good football game. We're going to have our eyes on that. And Louisville. Oh my goodness, if they didn't get beat at Pittsburgh. They're 8-1, ranked 11th, and in great position. Louisville to get in the top 10. And speaking of 10th, that's where we find Penn State. The Lions are getting ready to host Michigan on Saturday, the Big Ten kickoff, noon game on Fox. Gonna be a good one. Michigan, with all the turmoil, can they keep it going and go into Happy Valley? Sold out, ruckus crowd. Can they go in there and take out the Lions? We're going to be watching. Penn State, they're 10th. Ole Miss comes in at 9th. They're a good football team. They can make some things happen, but they're at Georgia this weekend. That's not a good situation there, I don't believe. Maybe Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin have something up their sleeve. We'll be watching, but I don't believe so. But that's going to be a tough one. Ole Miss at Georgia, but the Rebels, they're 9th. Alabama, they're cruising. They're number 8. They disposed of LSU, knocked their quarterback out of the ball game. They were winning before they did it, but they went on to win. They got Kentucky this weekend. Kentucky's a good football team, but I don't think they can match up with Alabama. Texas, with their victory this season over Alabama, remains above Alabama at 7th. The Longhorns have a chance to continue to rock and roll with their big victory over Kansas State and get into the Big 12 championship game. Can they make the playoff? We'll have to see. I don't believe so. Oregon is 6th. Probably well considered as the best one-loss team out there. They've been disposing of opponents. They got the one loss at Washington. And the Huskies, quite honestly, haven't been playing all that great since they beat Oregon. But Oregon looking good. We'll see if they can continue to rock and roll to close out the season. Washington, who we mentioned, beat Southern Cal. Sent Caleb Williams over to the sideline. But Washington, they're number 5. Offensively, they're very strong, and their quarterback, Michael Penix, is a Heisman contender, to be sure. At number 4 is Ohio State. They haven't looked great, but they've got 2 big victories over Penn State and Notre Dame. So Ohio State looking good. They're at 4th. They'll have Michigan later, and that'll tell us a lot. Florida State is 3rd. Didn't seem to play all that well at Pitt this weekend, but if you look at it, it was 24-7. The Seminoles dominated the game, didn't have their 2 top receivers who were out. But Jordan Travis with a big game and Trey Benson running the football. Seminoles on cruise control, but they got the Miami Hurricane. It's a rivalry game. This used to be the game. We'll see if Miami has anything. I don't think so, but stranger things have happened. Michigan, number 2, embroiled in this mess. I don't even know what to tell you about this. If they did what they thought, where they orchestrated and financed a scheme to steal teams' signs by videotape and so forth, that's definitely illegal. They're going to have to pay some kind of a penalty. If that's this year or next year, I'm not quite sure how it's going to shake out. I don't think the Big Ten wants to do anything. They don't want to knock their top team out of contention here. A lot of moving parts here. Nothing is really good. Disappointed the whole situation has come up for Michigan, but that's where we're at. Penn State can handle a lot by knocking them out this weekend, right? But I don't know. Can the Lions do it? James Franklin, he kind of needs it. He needs to beat one of the big boys. We'll see what happens. Noon kickoff. And the Georgia Bulldogs, they're number 1. They just continue to beat up on people, and they're looking good. Now, they've sleepwalked a little bit, but when they've needed to, they've showed up and dominated. We'll see if that happens with Ole Miss coming in on Saturday. But there you have it, folks. There's our top 25. The Georgia Bulldogs, the 2-time defending national champions, they remain number 1. Tell us, give us some comments. Do you see somebody we got misranked? Is there somebody you think needs to be much higher or much lower? Or maybe one of those teams down there at the bottom, you think they ought to be in the top 25 and knock one of these other teams out of there. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Drop us the comments and tell us all about it. Folks, we are over on the Color and Pageantry over on Facebook. Do get over there. Check us out if you want to. We'd love to have you. Get some information going back and forth with everybody over there. All right, so we've got good games this weekend. As we mentioned, we've got Georgia, Ole Miss. We got Florida State and Miami. We've got the Gators at LSU. Now, for some odd reason, the visitor in that series plays better than the home team. I don't know what's going on there, but historically, I've noticed that. But, the Gators are at LSU. Of course, Michigan and Penn State, a very, very big one. And Missouri, Tennessee. So those are among the games we got going on this weekend. So it's a pretty good weekend. And guess what? We'll be back next week to talk about it. And somebody, I don't know who, somebody's going to get beat. We'll talk about it then. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching. Do appreciate it. Bye-bye.